Okay. So I taped my paper into grids, and I'm just going to show you on this really quick. This is, let me see here. We have wet on wet, wet on dry, and lifting. Dry on wet and dry on dry. Okay, so the wet, the first word is the paint. The second word would be how the paper is, okay? And so you have here we are. Found it. Okay. So wet on wet. Paper. Paint. Paper. And then lifting. We have dry on wet and dry, actually on dry, we have lifting, and we have the bead, okay? Consistencies of watercolor. Oops. Is tea. That would be a glaze or a wash. Skim milk. Milk. Cream. Okay. This is what you use for dry on dry right here. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to wet my paper. And these pens are usually, these micron pens are usually water safe. Oh well. Okay, here we are. So we have wet on wet. So this is what you want when you have your, you're doing a sky, maybe, sunset. And you want your colors to blend together. Get a little bit of alizarin, make that a little bit more orange. Better. Now we can put this real bright in there. And then, and your paints are, your better paints are, Daniel Smith brand is kind of the gold standard. And you know, you can make your paints run like this. You want them to blend. You can move your paper around. Okay. Okay, so when you're doing the bead, I'm going to flip this over real quick. Did that on site. I don't really like the composition. There's too much just empty sky over here. So, okay. But I did like how the sign turned out. Let's see. I want to be sure y'all can see everything. Okay. So here's the bead. The bead's kind of hard, and it really is not a beginner thing, but it's good to know. At least be aware, right? So I wet it, and then I dried it off. And I'm going to start off with my yellow. See how this, get this real thick, kind of a creamy paint, right? And you want to keep your paper needs to be a little bit moist so that your paint flows into each other. There we go. So here we are. So you can see it. See, there's the bead right there. You have to practice it. I still have to practice it. Okay. And then we'll get a little blue. Anyway, Daniel Smith, but also I really like M. Graham. They're honey based. And I really, really like Core, Qor. I like all of those three paints. Those are my faves. Okay. So, and there's the bead. Okay. All right. And you can spray and let your colors mingle. Okay. So, we're going to do dry on wet surface, okay? So I'm gonna, you can use this for like a rainbow kind of a thing. All right. That go over there. Okay. So this is when you want your colors to blend in with each other, but not overlap, not totally obliterate the other color. And that is why we use a drier brush on wet paper, because it gives you soft edges. Like that's a hard edge, right? We're going to come back over, soften that up. And in painting, you want both, right? You want soft and hard edges. Not one or the other. Okay. Dry on dry. I'm going to get a different brush. This is called the cat's tongue. This is a mop. Oops, right. Ooh, okay. Mop, brush, cat's tongue. Okay. has a point. They both have points, but this has a better point. Okay. So when you do dry on dry, there's a couple of things you can do. You can use it to get a really, use your water bottle to wet your paints, your paint palette, reconstitute them. Okay. So this is use dry on dry when you are doing detail work. At the end, that's when you do it. And when you want a straight line, you can put your wrist or your arm on the edge of a table and you move your whole arm and that'll give you a straighter line. Okay. You can get, change your pressure, your line by adjusting the pressure on your brush. Okay. All right. And we have, there you go. Now what I want to show you is, I think I'm going to move this one down. Also on here, just because, why not? I think it picked up some salt from a while ago. You can put salt when your paper still is glistening. And you don't want to overdo it because people that have been painting a long time will go, oh, she used salt. But it gives you a nice texture. Okay. So, the other thing you can do is get a round brush. And this is called scrumbling. So I'm going to get some green. And you can make a distant, so you put your brush down on the table and you pick it up and you push it and you can make a tree line, a distant tree line. And you can add some dimension or some perspective and just, if you want to make some evergreens. And you can also do, I'm going to show you, I will get that in there. You can, and by the way, I learned this, I knew the washes, I did learn the bead from Dan Monlock, but this gridding just to teach this particular thing, I learned that from this, how to teach this particular lesson like this from Dan Monlock. Okay. But you can also use it for mountains. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So now I'm gonna wet this. I use purple. So I'm just doing a glaze. This would be a wash. So, and then dry your brush really good, or you can get a different brush and work. You're gonna lift and get mountains like this too, right? Or flowers. That's kind of like to can do flowers like that. Okay. Let's see if I can do it over here. Nope, there's purple on there. Okay. All right. That would be the first watercolor lesson right there. So just a little FYI, I had probably because I wet the back of this and then it ran up here, it made cauliflowers. So if that happens, and it does happen, you can get a really soft brush, but that's not. And you can work on it and fix your mistakes. But that's what causes a cauliflower, is when you have more water than pigment. I'll put a little purple in there. Okay. So sometimes I say you have to babysit your watercolors. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. All right.